What up? What up? Today we got a good topic, man.
Super good. I'm pumped
How
about it
to
today.
how to tell if a lead is serious or if they're just browsing. I just did like
100%.
a full breakdown of form fill, like data analysis.
Yeah.
Um, and I realized like this was the thing that kept coming up more frequently than like anything else is I keep getting the like I'm just looking kind of objection. And
Yeah.
I think a lot of people take it at face value. And so today, what we want to do is like really break down a framework for you guys to understand how to tell if a lead is actually serious or if they're just browsing. Because the truth is that everybody, it's a natural human um, uh, reaction to say, I'm just looking when you don't want to be sold. So how do we actually determine if they are just looking or if like how do we tell if they're actually just looking or if they're actually serious about buying something?
Yeah. So I think like the first step in this is, this is probably one of the most common objections because it's like when you walk into a store, right? Even if you know that you want to buy something. You go to the store with the intention of buying a new pair of shoes. I need a new pair of running shoes. I walk in the door, a salesperson walks up to me. Hey, can I help you today? No, I'm good. I'm just looking. Right? It's the easiest objection. Even though I'm not just looking, I am there to buy. And what we have to realize is with our real estate leads, especially online leads, a lot of time they're in the exact same place. Yes, they are looking, but they are looking with the intention of buying. They are looking because they are problem aware, right? They are looking because they're they're looking because the motivating factors for them are greater than the demotivating factors in the buying process, right? So now we have to identify or figure out how to identify who those people are that are real buyers and who are those people that are actually just browsing. So for you, what's the first step that you would take and the easiest way that you find to identify someone that's just browsing
Yeah, so there's
versus someone that's a real buyer or a real seller?
Yeah, so there's three steps in this framework of figuring out if a lead is actually serious or if they're just browsing. So I'm going to give you all three now, and then we'll break down each individually. So the first thing is you have to look for buyer signals, not just what they say, right? Most of the time we take what they say for face value, but you're actually looking for buying signals, not just what they say or their words. The second thing is you want to ask a motivation mirror question to determine if they're actually motivated. And the third thing is you want to give them a safe exit or some type of next step. So we're going to talk about those three things today, but that's basically the framework is look for buyer signals, ask them a specific motivation question to understand where they're at, and then give them an exit so that you can understand which route they're going to take on the way out to determine if they're real or not. Okay? So let's talk about the first thing, which is looking for buying signals and not just what they say. So what someone says isn't necessarily what they mean. And so, like we said at the beginning of this training, is it's a natural human response, even when you're shopping for something, to say, I'm just looking or I'm just browsing because you don't want to be sold. And so I do that too. And so if we're just going to take I'm just looking for face value, like you're not going to get very far in sales because you have to expect that that's going to happen. It's somebody's natural human reaction to say I'm just looking. And so what you want to do is to determine if a lead is serious, expect that they're going to say I'm just looking to start, okay? Then you want to start asking specific questions, okay? So do they already, like if they already have a kind of closing time frame in mind, they're probably pretty serious because they've obviously thought this through a little bit if they know what closing is and when they want the keys, etc., right? If they actually engage with you and they open the lines of communication and respond to you quickly, they're usually not just browsing. They've already probably done some research. And the last thing is if they have some type of motivating event is what we would say. So like they're getting divorced, they got a job change, they got a new baby on the way, etc. Usually they're not just looking. If they've got a major life event that's happening in the pipeline, that thing is likely driving the move. But because you don't have the relationship with them already, of course they're going to use the I'm just browsing and searching for information at this point in time.
Yeah, so I think the specific question things gives it away, right? I like to usually try to leverage three specific questions that if they have an answer to one of them, as you mentioned, that means they've thought about buying and they've been forced to think about buying for some reason. So I try to ask three specific questions. Examples of specific questions could be like, where do you want to live? Right? Like, oh, have you thought at all about what neighborhoods you would be looking in? Like, I totally understand you're just looking. Remember, we talked about ARC last time we went live for objection handling. So acknowledge the rejection. Hey, listen, I totally understand that you're just looking. But if you were to make a move, is there a specific neighborhood that you might be interested in moving in? Right? So that's my first one. I love going with neighborhood because people who have thought about neighborhood, they are now more serious. They're not just looking. They know where they want to live. They know where that next move is. It might not be today, or they may not think it's possible, but that's our job as a consultant to show them. The
Yep.
sec the second one I always ask is exactly the one Emma used is time frame. Hey, I totally understand that you're just looking, but in a perfect world, is like when would you make that move? Is it 1 year? Is it 2 years? Is it 3 years? And you get that specific answer. Once again, it's going to show they've thought this through. They have a timeline. They know that where they want to live, right? And then for me, the third one is always around budget. Like it's just easy. Like, have they thought about how much money they can spend,
Yep.
right? And for me, if they have an answer to any of those three, they don't have to answer all three. If they have an answer to any of those three specific questions, now I'm moving on, as Emma said, to find out what the problem is or what the desire is that has made them think about that specific thing,
Yeah.
right? So
So
like,
can we just go back? I saw a couple people just hop in. So can we just recap what those three questions are? And I just want you guys to know we're looking when someone says I'm just browsing or I'm just looking, it's a natural response for them. And so what we're doing is the first step to understand if somebody is serious or if they're just browsing is we're actually looking for signals to show us that they're serious, not just what they're saying out of their mouth, right? So what are the three questions that if they have an answer to any one of these questions, they're actually probably pretty serious because they've thought it through.
yeah, so once again, we're leveraging, as we always teach, we're leveraging non-committal language. That's huge here. If you don't leverage non-committal language, these specific questions won't work well, and they'll just go back to the same objection. So, question number one is around where, right? Where would they want to live? Hey, listen. So acknowledge the objection, as I told you. Hey, I totally understand that you're just looking right now. People click on my ads all the time and they're just browsing. But I was just curious, like, if you were to make a move at some point in the future, whenever that may be, like, do you know where you'd want to live? Like, is there a specific neighborhood that interests you at all? So that's number one. Number two is, as Emma said, around time frame, right? So totally understand that you're just looking right now. Like in a perfect world, if all the stars aligned, when would you be actually possibly looking to make a move? Like 1 year, 2 years, 3 years? What are you thinking there? Right? And then my third one is around budget. Hey, I know you're just browsing right now, but like in browsing, did you have like a specific price point of homes that you were looking at or condos that you were looking at that might fall within what you could buy at some point in the future? Right? And for us, if they answer any one of those and have a specific answer to any one of those three, they've thought about this, which means they either have a pain, problem where they are, or a need, want, or desire in their current situation that has made them think about the possibility of moving, which means this person is not just browsing at this point. There is
Mm-hmm.
some level of serious, and now you have the opportunity to go deeper, which we'll talk about in a second here.
Yeah. So if they have a where, when, or how much answer, the likelihood is they're not just browsing. If they have an answer to one of those questions, they've probably done some research. So those are the signals that you're looking for to determine one layer deeper. Am I actually just browsing, or am I just using that as a smokescreen because I don't have a relationship with you yet to give you more information or tell you how serious I really am? Okay. So that's the first thing. Now, we're going to move to another question, which is what we call the motivation mirror to get a better sense. So now you have three questions to understand buying signals. Okay. Now, the second thing is a different type of question that can help you reveal urgency and readiness. So we had talked previously about, divorce, new job, new baby, big milestone events that happen in people's lives. Maybe they're getting married, etc. Right?
Downsizing because kids are moving out and gone to
Totally.
college, whatever it may be.
So you may have asked, like, where are you looking to move? What's the budget, and when are you thinking about having the keys? But the thing that you really got to understand more than anything else to really determine are they just browsing or not is what even has them thinking about making a move in the first place, right? So what's got you thinking about making a move right now? And they'll say, I'm getting married. I live with my parents and I need to buy my first place. I think right now is a great time in the market to do that, given the fact that, the market's down, or, there isn't as many buyers in the marketplace, etc. Maybe they have a big life event. I'm getting divorced. My kids are moving out, so on and so forth. But that question there is a motivation mirror so that you have an understanding of, is there actually internal motivation within them to actually make the move? And if they might say, I'm just browsing, but I got a baby on the way and I live in a one-bedroom condo, that's probably a pretty big lever as to whether or not they're going to make a move.
Yeah, and the way I love to ask this question that like once again allows you to acknowledge the I'm just browsing, because even after you do the first set of three questions, they may tell you again, listen, man, I'm just looking. Like, hey, once again, acknowledge. I totally understand that you're just looking at this point. Um, that being said, there has to be a reason that you started looking. Like, what's got you thinking about looking at real estate at this point in time? Right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a great
Yep.
way to ask that question. That's just like, hey, I totally understand that you're just browsing, but like something has to have happened for you to want to browse. Otherwise, you're not going to be looking at real estate. You're going to be looking at cars. You're going to be looking at shoes. You're going to be looking at restaurants. You're going to be going on a date.
Yep.
Something. Something
Yep.
else is going to be happening that's going to take up your time. Real estate is creating mind space. What's happened in your life? What's going on that's made real estate take up mind share so that you're spending your time on the internet looking at real estate? And it's
Yeah.
like
And
that simple question.
serious leads usually have a very clear answer to what that question is, right? People who aren't serious will usually give you very vague answers and generalities and go on, and it's kind of like this floating up here type of answer. But if somebody's a serious lead and they're actually thinking about moving, and you ask that motivation mirror question, serious leads will usually have a very clear, prompt, quick answer to that. And so that's kind of how you can sift and sort who is a serious lead versus someone who's just browsing.
100%. So this will now lead us to step three. Listen, we don't want to waste time with people who actually are realistically just browsing. But if we see that there's an opportunity here that these people might be real buyers or sellers in the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years, we are looking to fill our funnel for the future. So we teach this over and over again. The stat has now gone up to 82% of buyers will work with the first agent that they meet. So we teach all of our clients how to run virtual strategy sessions so that they can be that first person, give themselves at rock bottom an 82% chance of being the person that they work with, whether it's 2 years from now, 3 years from now, 4 years from now, 5 years from now. But if you provide a ton of value, you're probably up to a 95 to 99% chance, right? Now, the way we do this, and you can do this very quickly, which makes your discovery calls so much faster, so you're not wasting time. Like, soon as you've discovered this person has a problem, right? Or has a pain, has a fear, has a worry, has a need, want, desire, which means there is motivation there, right? So you've in the first set, we've discovered that they're giving us the signals through asking specific questions, and they're mentioning specific things that show they're prepared. Secondly, we're using the motivation mirror, which they're giving us their motivation to why they're even just looking at real estate. Now, what we want to do is we want to be able to give them a safe exit that makes them want to close into our desired next step, which is getting them into a strategy session. It's always the goal of a phone call. And if you use these 3 steps, it makes your calls super quick. So you can make more calls, talk to more people, book more strategy sessions, and have an overflowing funnel in no time, which is always the goal. Okay. And so you got to give them the safe exit and set them up for the next step, which is your close, which is your desired outcome, which is the appointment.
Yep.
So, Emma, what is the best way to give someone a safe exit, but at the same time make them want your desired next step, which is a strategy session?
Yeah, so it's one simple question to get them to commit to the next step of the process and make it very easy for you to ask for the next step of the process without it seeming so cringy. Okay, so this one simple question will do that for you. Would it help you if I showed you what other buyers are doing right now that are in your exact situation? Okay, that simple question is going to help you sift and sort your leads, because if somebody comes back and they say, no, I'm not interested in knowing what anybody else is doing that's in my situation, then they're probably actually not looking for help. They're not interested. But most people will say, yeah, I'm actually interested in knowing what other people are doing that are in my situation so that I can make sure that I have the most information, I feel educated, etc., to make the best decision for my family. So this one question will help you sift and sort your leads. Would it help you if I showed you what other buyers are doing that are in your exact situation right now?
Yeah.
Okay. And then once you get that micro commitment, because more people are going to say yes than no to that because they want the information, you've now got a micro commitment, and it's very easy for you to transition into, okay, this is typically what we do next, or this is what most buyers are doing that are in your situation right now, so that they don't feel like they're the only person that is taking that next step with you.
Yeah, and like the thing about this question is you can change the wording of it to be situational depending on the motivational answers that you have gotten in, like the specific answers and the motivational answers that you've gotten in step 1 and 2. You can make this question a little bit customized to the people. For example, like, would it help you if I showed you what other first-time buyers are doing right now that are in your exact situation to get into the market sooner? Because that might be a desire of theirs, right? That you discovered in the motivation. So you want to customize it. First, just learn the question inside out. Then you can customize it to the specific area. And then your offer, they've already made that micro commitment, and your offer is going to be what our desired next step is, which is to get them into a strategy session to show them exactly how they can be in that position that they want to be, or get the information or the desired outcome that they're looking for. And it's simple, guys. And if you use this framework, you should be having 5-minute phone calls with booked appointments. You don't need 25 to 30-minute phone calls of doing a deep dive consultation to book an appointment. That's the whole point of the appointment, is to be the consultation. When you're face to face and can actually share screen, deliver value, share spreadsheets, worksheets that you may provide, guides, whatever it is you're providing to the buyer archetype or persona that you're meeting with.
Yep. 100%. So that's what we got. We gave it to you guys. How to tell if a lead is serious or if they're just browsing. You've got your 3 things. You've got to look for buyer signals first, not just what they say out of their mouth. The second thing is you want to ask that motivation mirror question to understand if there's real motivation behind the move and why they're looking. And then the third thing is to give them a safe exit and get a micro commitment for the next step. And if they agree to that, the likelihood is they're not just browsing, they actually need some serious information and they need to be educated so that they can take the next step in the process.
And reminder, pro tip, before doing these 3 steps, always acknowledge the objection. And pro tip number 2, use non-committal language when asking the specific questions. If you don't know what non-committal language is, we'll talk about it in an upcoming live. But for now, we will see you guys next week. Hopefully today was helpful. Cheers.
Ciao, guys.